Hello and welcome back. All right, so breaking our streak a little bit of seeing familiar faces, we have a new face with us today, and I am super excited to talk to Liam, the founder of Scedugame. So, Liam, welcome. We're so happy to have you here today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. So my name's Liam Thurman. I am the founder of Scedugame. So Scedugame is a mobile application that allows gamers to instantly match, connect, and play with each other. Right now, we have a web version and we have a newly launched version available for download on the App Store.
That okay, I as I was telling you, in our a little catch up break here, but I was telling you that Josh told me a little bit about Scedugame and I just was like, wow, this is so cool. I can't wait to sign up. Tell us, how did you come up with this idea, and did it evolve? Did you have to change it sort of along the way to get it to where it is now?
Sure. So absolutely. We started Scedugame about a little over 5 years ago when I was a senior in high school. I'm a huge gamer myself. A lot of my friends are big gamers, and one of the things that we identified was, we play a lot of games like Call of Duty and stuff like this, and we're always looking for more people to play with. I mean, video games are supposed to be a social hobby. It's you want to play with other people like you. What always happened to us was we were always getting matched with like randoms who just did not really fit the build for what we were looking for. I was kind of like, hey, what if we, figured out a way to like eliminate random matchmaking, and you had the ability now to, find specific people with specific skills and something like that. And so it really just started off as like an idea like that, and I was like, hey, I think this could actually be something. So 5 years later, we it's developed. So yeah.
I mean, it takes time. The 5 years for an app or a startup. I mean, I don't think that's very long. That's pretty average, I would say.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about Schedule. Like, how does it work? Like the nitty gritty, right? Like you were saying, you're trying to find a specific individual. So what are some of the filters? I mean, obviously you can filter by game, but are you filtering by role? Or are you filtering by, hey, I'm not going to be toxic or things like that?
Exactly. No, I mean, so Schedule Game uses a proprietary matchmaking algorithm. In terms of the things that we use, I mean, because we've just launched, it's not as specific right now. Eventually, it's going to come down to things as, if you're looking for someone who plays Overwatch or League, and you're looking for people in specific roles, you're going to be able to find people who have the role you're looking for. They play when you play. They play on the same system, all that stuff. Right now the algorithm is a little more simple just because we want to ensure that everyone always finds, at least someone to match with and start talking with, so they can sort of get a taste of what the experience is like. So we're definitely, as we grow our user base, the algorithm gets, better and better and better. But yeah, so, it matches you based off of things like, when you play, um, the games you play, and a few more things like that.
That sounds really cool. Now, what I'm wondering, is some games, a lot of games can be, somewhat toxic environments, and I think that for a lot of folks, sort of the hesitation in playing with random people is you don't know how they're going to interact with you and how they're going to behave when you're in voice chat. So yeah, obviously, like you said, you just launched in you're not filtering by so many things in the algorithm, but is that something that's on your radar where you want to uh, moderate it a little bit and make sure that people who are maybe reportedly not report, excuse me, repeatedly reported as toxic get banned from using schedule games? Like, what's your sense on that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge part of the service. I mean, because, like you said, I mean, video games can be a very toxic community, and it can be a place where a lot of people just aren't comfortable. And that's definitely something that we take very seriously in the app. We are required by, the app store to have, specific report functions, block functions, delete functions. But more than that, my team and I are also always, keeping an eye on what's going on in the app to make sure that each and every user has the experience that we want them to have and that they deserve. So yeah, so that's a huge part of it, because we want Scedugame to be a safe place for all gamers, and that can't happen if it becomes a toxic community. But as we continue to build, we definitely will continue to put more and more sort of firewalls, if you will, as to making it a safe place. But yeah, that's definitely a very important thing for us.
That's awesome. That's really, really good to hear. Now, you mentioned about, Scedugame growing, obviously, because you just launched. Tell us sort of what's ahead. What is the next part that you're working on? Maybe another next feature, as much as you can. I know that some of this is going to be proprietary information.
No, yeah, I mean, so we we actually we put the first app on the App Store in June, and as of literally 2 days ago, we just were approved by Apple after 10 rejections to have the new version with a bunch of new updates in it, new features in it. So that's up. So that's huge news. That was a crazy process. But that's definitely exciting. I mean, now we put like a shop in the app where you can buy match points. Scedugame is we have like memberships, so you have like monthly fees you pay to access certain things. In terms of what's ahead, I mean, right now, as I said, we have an iOS app and we have a web version. I mean, we definitely want to have this available on the Google Play Store. So that's a big thing for us. And I mean, right now, we're starting to run the ads that we've created. So that's really exciting. We're running our advertisement campaign on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. That literally started last night. So that's huge news for us. But yeah, I mean, so we really just we take it day by day, and we see we see the data collect, we see the data we collect, we see what our users are saying, how our users are using the service, and we really just keep building from there.
Now, speaking of taking it day by day, what does your day look like? I'm sure you wear a lot of hats throughout the day. What's a typical day or two like for you?
Well, I am actually I'm a grad as of about 16 days. I'll be graduating from American University in DC. Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I
That's
am in.
actually where I did law school, is American.
Okay, yeah. So I'm a public relations and strategic communications major. So I do wear the hat of a student. That's definitely kind of my full
Biggest hat.
exactly. And I also alongside Scedugame, I also have been doing an internship this semester. So that's been fun. So I definitely I keep a busy schedule. Whether it's being a student, whether it's working and talking with companies and doing business like that. I definitely I'm pretty busy. So but that's one of the best things about starting a company is that you are busy and you're doing a lot of other things besides it. So it's really kind of being busy has actually been the best thing for me. So it's just been amazing.
How do you like, obviously, you keep saying we do this, we do this. So obviously you have a team at Scedugame. How do you build a team as a startup? Because, everybody obviously has different skills. You are a communications major, so I'm going to assume that, that you have a big hand in things like the advertising, but you also need somebody who can program the back end of your application. So how do you build a team to really, put an app in the Apple Store?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just a matter of identifying, what you need done and sort of figuring out, okay, I need an iOS developer who programs in Swift. I need two designers. You really have to figure out for me. I mean, I started my company at a very young age and I'm still only 22. So I don't really, my network of, knowing people who could help me with this personally is small. So, I've been a person who I found my team through Upwork, which is a freelancing service. I found my developers through there, and that has just been amazing. So, for us, it was really just a matter of saying, okay, this is what we need done. This is what we're going to do. So I need to bring in this person. So it was really just, kind of planning it on our end and, just kind of going out and finding candidates and seeing who works best.
That makes sense. Now, you mentioned obviously you started your company at a young age and you're still young. what advice do you have for folks who are also, in high school or maybe just starting college in terms of, hey, I have so many cool ideas about maybe, either starting a business or becoming really, personality within the esports space, like a streamer or something like that. What advice do you have for them in terms of like putting enough energy into that idea to make it work, but also balancing it with life, the fact that you're still graduating from college instead of dropping out and focusing all your time on the company?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, 100% go for it. I mean, if you have a dream, if you have a vision, do it. I mean, that's what I did. I mean, there was a lot of people who, said, Liam, look, this is a long journey, and there's, a lot of startups fail. Was the first thing that a lot of people told me, and I said, sure, but even the ones that fail, you're still learning a lot from the experience. I mean, nobody said life was going to be easy. So, I knew that I was going to have to balance school. I knew that I was going to have to, do internships and work. But for me, I was willing to continue it, and I was willing to develop my company because I believed in the vision. And I think when you believe in the vision, it doesn't really matter, what else you have to do. You're going to make it work. So, I would say to anyone who is younger and who is starting a company, definitely just go for it. Figure out what are the best ways for you to kind of balance your life. Because everyone's different, so it's going to be different for everyone. But yeah, I mean, that's what I did. I say go for it 100% because you never know what's going to happen.
That's good advice. Now, what for you personally, what made you make the choice to actually create that balance, right? Keep going to school because it's not unusual for entrepreneurs to actually drop out of school because they're focusing all their energy on the company. Why was it important to you to sort of having this, I guess, traditional life, if you will, right? Where you go to school, you go to college, alongside the starting a new business?
Sure. Well, I mean, I think it's because, I've learned a lot of the things that helped me start Scedugame, I learned from school. I mean, as I said, I'm a PR major, so, I really, I'm a natural communicator, and I think that that was really important for me to continue to develop my skills alongside building my own business. Whether it's, I mean, my major personally, the stuff I've done in school has helped me communicate with investors. It's helped me communicate with employees and hire people. So a lot of what I learned in school was applicable to my company. So I would say that was one of the reasons why I, felt it was necessary. And ultimately, I think that college is really important for everybody who has the privilege of attending. And, I just believe that a lot of the skills that I've learned are going to help me not only with Scedugame, but also in my personal life and beyond.
Absolutely. And I agree with that last point. Not everyone can or chooses to attend college, but for the folks that do, I think it's an invaluable experience for just social skills. Even
Absolutely.
not even just the actual like lessons you learn in the classes. So absolutely. Now, obviously there's no success without failure. What are some mistakes that you can tell us about in terms of getting schedule games to where it is, and what did you learn from those mistakes?
Sure. I mean, as I said, it took us 5 years to actually, get the app up on the app store, get the ads running. I mean, it took us, we got our first real angel investor about three months ago. So it's a long journey. I mean, I wish that, it would have been nice to be able to devote more time to it. That was something that I think I wish I would have done. I mean, again, just balancing life and running a startup is hard. But I think there were some times where I could have put a little more of my time and a little bit more of my energy into getting some things moving on different fronts. Um, so that was that. But, honestly, I'm really somebody who, the past is the past for me. I mean, things that I've done, it's all a learning experience. I mean, it's my first company, and it's everything I do, every person I hire. I mean, every feature we build into the Scedugame app. It's just a matter of kind of learning, seeing what works best. So I tend to not really dwell on the past. I've learned from my mistakes, and I believe that everything that's happened has happened for a reason, and it's kind of put us in the position of where we are today. So I'm very much somebody who is looking forward, looking to the future, and just seeing what's in store.
Did you get any particularly good advice along the way? And if so, or even if it wasn't advice that you heard, maybe it was a lesson that you learned, the hard way through your mistakes, sort of what are the top three either lessons or pieces of advice that really stick in your mind from this schedule game journey?
So I would say first things first. A piece of advice to that I tell myself every single day is one, just don't be so hard on yourself, Liam. I mean, I just absolutely, just crack down on myself. When the app gets rejected by Apple, I get mad at my team. I get mad at myself. That's one thing that I've really tried to improve on. So that would be the first thing. The second thing I would say is really be careful with who you choose to have around you, who you choose to surround you with, who your team is. You have to really figure out, what are people's motivations for helping you out. I mean, I've had some amazing experiences and I've had some not so amazing experiences. So I would say, just be very careful with who you surround yourself with is two. And, number three, I would probably say, honestly, just make sure that you have that healthy balance. I really, I mean, because it doesn't matter what company you're starting. You want to make sure that you're doing other things. You're hanging out with friends. You're doing school if that's what you do. You a healthy balance is a key to life, and I think that there's definitely been some times where I've kind of tilted in one direction. And I think that I'm most efficient on all fronts if everything's kind of centered. So yeah, so that's what I would say. Number three is just have a healthy balance.
It sounds like what Pat and I talked about it, which is being Zen. It's a little bit different in this sense because before we were talking about being present, but here you're talking about, if things are in balance, then you feel most productive in all aspects.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
be, being Zen, I like it. Another recommendation to be Zen. So tell us a little bit about just yourself. This is the first time we're having you here on Game Jam. Like, what are your favorite games? Do you use schedule games to play those games?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm a huge gamer myself. I mean, the two games I played most recently that were my favorite by far. I don't know if they've actually been talked about, but Assassin's Creed Valhalla, loved it. Just played. I think I'm actually I can see see in the game how much I played. I'm right around 400 hours, which is just a lot for me. But I'm also a huge Warzone player. So yeah, so those are the games I've played recently. And in terms of schedule game, yes, I use a service not just because it's my company, but because it's something that it's really helpful for gamers. And I mean, too many people, I think, they play alone and they have a really hard time finding people, and that is why schedule game was created, was to solve that issue, to make sure that that no gamer ever plays alone if they don't want to. That is our goal. So I've found some amazing people through it, and we've had some amazing reviews on the App Store of completely random people who have been like, wow, I saw this service, I didn't know about it, but I used it and it works. And that's like so amazing for us to see, is that it's even though it's so small, it's already starting to do what we imagined. So it's just amazing to kind of start to see the dream come true.
Yeah, that must be very, very rewarding. But I mean, what a great service because I mean, it's great in so many ways. Obviously, you're helping folks find people they can play with so they don't feel alone, they don't feel lonely, they can play with somebody. But you're also helping I mean, I was going to say young people, but really anybody build their social skills because when you're playing games that are meant to be played with other people, not obviously there are single player games, but group games, a lot of folks will still play them alone and they're not learning those social skills. So you're helping people develop life skills as well as just, you know, giving them an opportunity to find friends. Just so many aspects to this
And
business that you created.
and that's really the goal. I mean, whether it's whether it's Call of Duty, and I mean, even for the single player games, you still can, even if you can't, maybe play with someone, you can still certainly talk with them about it, and I think, people ask us, you know, oh, this sounds similar to Discord. And I'm like, well, Discord doesn't actually match people, but the point is, we are creating a place where, instead of having to load into Call of Duty and spend a whole day trying to find one right person, we are taking the luck out of it. And we're saying, look, you will use our service and you will find, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 people who fit your criteria. That's a really special thing. And I mean, that's really gonna change the way people think about some of the games, because at the end of the day, gaming is best when it's social. I believe that, and I think a lot of the gaming community believes that. So we are just one of the companies that is trying to bring as many gamers together as we can.
Tell us a little bit about networking, because like when I think about starting a business, I think networking is probably one of the biggest things that you do, because you have to talk to investors like you were talking about. You have to talk to Google and Apple to make sure that your app gets on the App Store. What is that like? Like, are you, well, you're naturally good at networking probably, like you said, you're a communications major, that's what you do. Do you have any advice, like what makes for good networking, what makes for bad networking? If folks who are feel like they're bad at it, what can they do to sort of step up their game?
Yeah. So first things first, you're absolutely right. Networking is critical, especially when you're starting a company. I mean, because as a young, especially as a young person, there was a lot of people who I meet, and they're a little bit skeptical. Just naturally, they were like, well, that sounds interesting, but best of luck. So for me, I always kind of put myself into situations where I was always, kind of forced to speak with people and forced to meet them and learn about what they do. And as living in Washington D.C., I mean, I would, I could network at the most random places, whether it's at school, whether it's at restaurants, whatever it may be. You just got to get out there and learn about other people so that they can learn about you. So networking is critical. And in terms of helping out people networking, I would say that one of the best things I ever did was I got really serious with LinkedIn. LinkedIn, it truly is the professional network. I mean, I as an undergrad, I didn't really start it until about my junior year. But I've met so many people just off of LinkedIn. So I would say, definitely, get that up and running, because that's going to help you a lot. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of, that would be my advice, is to just get out there and force yourself to meet and speak with others.
I think that's great advice. Just the caveat to that is sort of the pandemic right now. How has that changed? Do you have different advice for folks who maybe can't, go in person to that conference? I'm assuming it's a lot more difficult to do with virtual events. Do you have any specific advice in that sense?
Sure. Well, and yeah, and I mean, I would think, I would say definitely, you're right. It's a lot harder to network virtually. I mean, there's just a lot of, there's just a lot of industries and people that are not really familiar with it yet, which is fine, because these past 2 years have just been crazy for everybody, and we're all still learning how to do it. But yeah, I mean, I think the same thing applies for virtual events. I mean, at my school, they have a lot of virtual job fairs, career fairs, stuff like that. And I mean, I would encourage anyone, go to those, see who you can speak with, see who you can kind of just get yourself out there to. Because that's what it's really all about, whether it's in person or virtual. You just have to put yourself out there and really make the effort. And I think once you start doing that, you're going to be surprised to see the kind of results start to show pretty quickly.
That's good advice. That's good advice. And it's heartening, right? Because like I said, I find like virtual networking to be really difficult. So we just have a couple minutes left. So why don't you tell all the folks watching, where can they find Scedugame, if they'd like to download it and use it. Also, if Scedugame has a Twitter, maybe they can follow the news and the new developments that you're doing with the company.
Yeah, so Scedugame is so you can download on the App Store. It's SCEDU and then game. So you can download it on the App Store. We also do have a web version. And you can also follow us at Scedugame on Instagram. So those are the best ways to stay up to date. We do also have TikTok, which is at Scedugame as well. I'm not sure how many people use TikTok, but yeah, those are going to be the best ways to find the app. And there's a lot of stuff to stay up to date too. I mean, we just launched the ads. We have the new version up and running. So we're definitely full speed ahead. So there's a lot to come.
That's awesome. Well, Liam, thank you so much for coming in, telling us about Scedugame. I really do hope that you come back, again and again to our Bash events and keep us up to date on what's happening with Scedugame and your life, post graduation. So thanks so much.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.